Well, for a little bit more in-depth glimpse into my life, and for a lot of you don't know what it is I do, aside from consulting and translating and selling fine art, I'm a caregiver to the only family I really have. Um, I got my dad, my brother, and I'm the only one really who's in the position to be a caregiver. Um, Now, I spend a lot of my time now, because of the pandemic, waiting outside of the hospitals. My father's been battling numerous, and I mean numerous, health complications in addition to fighting cancer. The immunotherapy has now damaged his eyesight, hopefully not irreparably. He's lost a lot of his jaw and now has difficulty hearing and has a constant ringing in his ear. They believe because of some nerve damage, because of two carcinomas that were removed from his skull that severed the nerves, and that's what's possibly causing his hearing loss and the discomfort. In addition to that, he's had an extremely tough time dealing with stones inside his bladder that cause frequent and painful urination. On top of this, he's an ulcerative colitis survivor and has had numerous surgeries, including an ileostomy for that. And he's been battling multiple myeloma, which is a cancer of the bone, and the calcium is leached out of his bones, leaving him at one point in a wheelchair, unable to walk, and undergoing chemotherapy until he was given immunotherapy, which actually has eliminated the cancer, but has still left him with subsequent need for surgeries. Had I want to say about 3 kyphoplasties for fractured vertebrae on his spine. And throughout this time, I have basically been his nurse. He has an enlarged aorta, which requires twice daily Lovenox injections, which I administer him to as well. I am his maid, his cook, his housekeeper, his personal assistant, the plumber, the carpenter, and the one that goes and fixes the roof. Much of my time is spent chauffeuring him to and from doctor's appointments, and it's been extremely difficult. I don't really have relatives, except for my cousin who helped out a couple times, and I really appreciate that. But no one has been present and really participating as a family that helps each other out. I've had to sacrifice my career, quit multiple jobs, and chosen a career path out of necessity just to make ends meet. Put myself through college at night, and as dysfunctional as it's been, I love my father. He's my best friend in the whole world, and I am blessed to have a roof over my head and to have a dad. But for some of those who think that we're wealthy or that I just got it easy, you're mistaken. I am now sitting in a car that I cannot afford because I no longer have a regular steady stream of income. I don't have any credit. I worked in the corporate world for much of my life, did a lot of construction work, and I have absolutely nothing to show for it. My parents weren't wealthy. Pretty much been working since I was 12 years old. I used to get up every morning since I was 9, 10, chop wood and cut wood at 5:30 in the morning before school. My parents bought a house in the country in 1983. I went to public school, and my childhood friend died of cancer. My first wife had cancer, as did some of my friends, and my mother died holding my hand of cancer. And now here I am at the same hospital that couldn't help my mother because at the time the Bush administration banned embryonic stem cell research. Now, the same type of science saved my father's life. He was given 6 months to live, is in a wheelchair, told he would never walk again. Subsequently had 2 stem cell transplants, and now is immunotherapy, and for the most part is cancer free, except for these other complications and the constant chronic pain that he deals with. I'm asking for help because I don't have a massage therapist. I'm watching my father take pain medication, and it's sucking the life right out of him, solely because I am only able to give him a massage to a limited capacity. I'm not a professional. His bones are soft and brittle, and he needs a massage therapist, a physical therapist, to help out, as well as a type of jacuzzi so he could have hydrotherapy, a type of pool. Now, he's fighting to live. He wants to live. He's been going for walks. However, he's depending on me for the types of things that should be covered under insurance. And he's a great, wonderful artist, and I've been trying to promote his artwork. And nothing against, a lot of these other artists who became famous, but we don't really have time to just hang out and promote his artwork at galleries, and now there's a pandemic. And he is still on a waiting list to get an appointment. He's 77 years old, and I believe he qualified for the vaccine, but however, now the mismanagement of this country has made it so that there's no vaccines, and I'm continually going into the epicenter. I have an apartment in the epicenter with my significant other, who also has to work and support her family and her son, who are in dire straits and predicament in another side of the world where they don't enjoy the same liberties that we do. So I try to do my best by my friends and my family, and I try to help out whenever I can. However, I've been completely overwhelmed. It's been non-stop for a few years now. Ambulance trips. My father has been taken to the ambulance multiple times. Like I mentioned before, he has an enlarged aorta, high blood pressure. And it's imperative that I monitor whatever he eats and puts on his body. I also offer him as much physical therapy, love, and affection as I possibly can as a caregiver. And unless you know what it's like to take care of someone who's very sick and bedridden and who has infections in a wound vac in your head, you really don't know. Okay? My heart goes out to my friends who are single mothers, and they're struggling too. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Taking care of a little kid, a couple kids, is nothing like taking care of someone who's been fighting cancer, has a compromised immune system. Okay? And, it may look like the everyday days and holidays, it's all fun and games and everything's happy, honky-dory. But I try to do that to make people laugh and to make the situation in life a little bit less painful for anyone else who wants to glimpse into my life. And I'm not the greatest artist, I'm not the greatest musician, but those are the things that I like to do for fun instead of watching a football game on TV or, I don't know, talking about things that we've bought or material things. I love to play sports, don't really care for watching them, and I'm disgusted with this country. I'll fight wherever it is. I lay my hat wherever my home is for freedom. But I'm not going to go sign up to defend a regime of bullshit that's been funded by the oil and gas industry. Look at the city now. Almost every freaking car you see is a gasoline-powered car. Solely because the fossil fuel industry and the greed surrounding it has prevented the technology from becoming affordable for many people, just like medicine. Just like all these deadly pandemics and diseases. That's from lack of coordination and communication and the abuse of our environment. I got a DNA test, and it said that the reason why I am a cancer survivor from a childhood cancer is because of the environment where I was born. I was born in Manhattan. And the pollutants in the environment somehow caused a minor mutation so that when I was conceived, by the time I was 1 year old, there was a tumor in my abdomen. That was removed and it didn't spread throughout my body. But there's not a day I don't go by thinking about how we can make the world a better place. And no child deserves to be brought in this world with cancer. solely because it's pollution around. And folks couldn't get it together enough to really think about the bigger picture. Every time we buy something that's made in China, we fuel slavery and pollution on a grand scale. Every time we fuel our cars with gasoline, some evil regime, whether it's the Saudis or it's Iran or Russia, profits on that. If we made it illegal to use fossil fuels, a lot of these countries that have people working their ass off so that a few people will get rich while they pollute all the oceans and cut down the forest would be out of business. All the money that we spent on bombs and planes and guns and submarines and missiles could be spent towards healing one another and helping one another. We put our differences aside and we do like we do in America. We have a democracy. We separate the church from the state. Okay? Give people freedom of religion. As long as it's respectful to science and other people, then the world will be a much better place. You know, life is really short and it's really fragile. And if we all don't take care of one another, then what kind of world is this? What kind of shit is this where folks gotta walk around without a mask? Where somebody right there completely oblivious to the fact there's more people dead from this pandemic than at World War II. Tell me, what kind of world is that? When somebody wants to say, oh, for the sake of business profitability, I'm going to allow a corporation to dump toxic chemicals into a stream which goes into the groundwater that we all drink. Tell me, how the fuck do you think it's okay to storm the fucking Capitol building, the White House, try to do some insurrection because you think the commander-in-chief is the all-know dictator? Peace, love, and harmony.